What is going on, everyone? It's LFC Transfer Room here, and today we are having the Premier League room a day early because tomorrow we've got the big 5K quiz. So we're going to talk about some of the things that are not happening in Liverpool's world of transfers, which seemingly by some of the tweets I've got is going to go very quiet now for the remainder of summer. So the Premier League room may be our only source of transfer news. I'm joined today by Owen, Drew, and Jay. Jay, you've been quite vocal on Twitter today. This could be the end of our transfer news. Apart from that, are you all right, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. I'm over it now. I have my little 20 minutes or 2 hours worth today, so I think I'm tweeted out.
And Drew, you agreed to get a perm, didn't you? If we get to 10k followers by the end of this year, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it?
I mean, you're putting words in my mouth there, Jay.
I'm going back now.
But,
Yeah,
if the hair's still long by then, yeah, sure, why not?
Can always shave it off, I guess.
I've had mohawks, I've had ponytails. Like, why not?
Like a Scouse perm.
Yeah, we'll throw in some trophies there too, because I think that needs to be a must.
Oh, all right. And Owen, how are you doing? I'm seeing you in a bit of Twitter beef today.
Yeah. Had to back the LFC transfer room friends, and but look, next season quadruple, the hair's going red. I'll put out there. Well, yeah, if we win the quadruple, then I'll do anything. I'll do anything if we win the quadruple. But I'm hoping now that either way, it's going to be good or bad if we win the quadruple. So yeah, look, it's been quite an eventful last few weeks, isn't it? To be a Liverpool fan, normally it's LFC room. We don't do the transfers. But yeah, it's fantastic that we've got the business done early, and yeah, we can look forward to the pre-season now.
Yeah. Now, as we normally do, we're going to look at some of the competition. We're going to look at what some people are doing, some changes people are making, and we're going to look at our main rivals. We're going to have a butchers at Man City. There's a couple of players rumoured to be coming in for Man City. Obviously, they've got Haaland done for 65 million. But they're also in talks with Cucurella and Calvin Phillips, it's saying. Jay, do you think either of those are Man City quality players?
Cucurella, yeah. I was really impressed with Cucurella last season. I think he's a top player. Brighton nipped one out the bug getting him, to be fair. I don't know how they managed to get him last season, but yeah, I think he's a brilliant signing, mate. Phillips, I'm not really asked. He's just like another Delph or Scott Sinclair type signing that they've made in the past, so he doesn't bother me whatsoever. But I think Cucurella's a very good signing.
Almost should be the replacement for Zinchenko, isn't it? You know, you've got Cancelo, who's probably strong right back, Owen, and then you're probably looking at your reserve, and maybe Cucurella's that reserve, or maybe he could get into the Spanish team if he gets a bit more first team football.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's got great potential. And under Pep, we saw with Rodri, I don't know, he just comes to my mind that he came in, didn't really suit the style of play, but Pep got him working. And after a season, he was absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, I think at fullback as well, Kyle Walker, he's getting on a bit now. So, yeah, absolutely great business for Man City. I think get them at a good price.
Now, one of the things I use to look at other transfer signings, we look at Transfer Market. They give you a good evaluation of it. They're saying that Cucurella's got a 45% chance of coming off. Calvin Phillips got a 67% chance of coming off. Drew, the one that has the most chance of coming off, according to Transfer Market for Man City, is an outgoing. It's Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal. And now it'd be good. You know, they've got a couple of strikers in them. They've got the player from River. Is it River Plate?
Alvarez, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, they've got Haaland, so Jesus is the next to leave, isn't he?
Yeah, it seems about time that he moves on. I don't think it's quite worked out for him there, albeit he's got cabinet full of trophies for himself, but he's never been their main man like throughout his stay there. I think Pep brought him in with some high expectations, but he just couldn't quite fill it. It didn't help that Pep just started playing without a 9 for a few years. So, we'll see how Haaland gets in there. I mean, no doubts about Haaland, but, Jesus' time has come. And although I wouldn't go to Arsenal if I was him, that just seems like another Arsenal signing that would be a lot of money and just wouldn't quite work out. But, seems to be an Arsenal signing at the end of the day. but he should be looking for moves elsewhere and a team where he'll get starting every game.
Yeah, Drew, I think you're right. And Arsenal have been linked with, Arsenal getting linked with everybody. They're having one of those summer transfer windows where I think if someone's under 25, they're going to link them to Arsenal because Arsenal seem to be interested in kids. Striker-wise, Gabriel Jesus, recently today, Christopher Nkunku's been linked. There's no prediction on that. Rafinha, Youri Tielemans, all linked with Arsenal. I mean, I think everyone, Nuno Tavares, I think we're all agreed that they need a striker because Lacazette's going. Do you think it's Gabriel Jesus number one, and then they're just trying to feel out to try and find a second option if they can't make the Jesus transfer happen?
You asking me that, sorry?
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I think Jesus will be a good signing for Arsenal. He's never really played as a proper forward for City. He's always been put on the right, and when he has played, to be fair, he's done well. I like him. I think the thing you've got to remember is Arteta's worked with Gabriel Jesus, so he's obviously seen something to think he can be my main man. Because they've only got Nketiah, who's been released until he signs a new contract if he does. So no, I think Jesus might surprise a few people, to be honest. I think he's got ability. He just hasn't been given the chance in the City team in the position he'd most like to play.
I know. And do you think Jesus is an Arsenal level player? Europa League, not Champions League? Do you think he's got the ability to get up into that top four type player?
Yeah, definitely. I think he already is. But my only worry for him is that kind of he's playing in a Man City team who have an abundance of goals everywhere already. Where with Jesus, I'm not convinced he can get that kind of 20, 25 goals a season. I'm not sure he's that player. Whereas in that Man City team, they've got so many great attacking players. He doesn't need to get that amount, where I feel like if he goes into the Arsenal team, he's going to need to get that sort of range. And also Arsenal have signed, according to Fabrizio now, Vieira. I don't know how much you guys have heard about him, but yeah, he looks like a cracking player from Porto. I think it's like 35 million euros. So yeah, that's another great deal for the Gunners.
And Owen, a little bit about him. What have you researched so far? If you can give us a bit of a rundown.
I was going through Instagram now. Actually, I can read it off if you want.
Yes.
Porto have accepted Arsenal's bid of 35 million euros. He'll fly to London in the coming hours. Medical will take place on Friday. Fabio wanted by Premier League. No, he wanted the Premier League, and he's now set to join Arsenal. Here we go. So it looks pretty legit.
So Arsenal now getting some business done, Drew. A striker obviously is high on their agenda. I'm not sure where Vieira plays actually.
Central midfield, I think.
Midfield. So the next for Arsenal surely got to be the defence, hasn't it? Because Gabriel for me is a great defender, but they couldn't really find a partner. I think they went back to Rob Holding at one point. What else do Arsenal need in your view?
I think they needed to focus on their attack. I think their striking force was abysmal at the end of the season, and you just spent 50 million on Ben White. So I don't know. It just seems to me like Arsenal just throws a bunch of crap at the wall and sees what sticks every season. I think who's the right back they got? I always blank on his name, but the Japanese international, Tomiyasu. I think he's probably been one of their most phenomenal pickups recently. Just seems to fit, does a good job. Kind of reminds me of Arbeloa, always a 6.5 out of 10. But other than that, I just don't see Arsenal's transfer policy. I'm questioning Arteta if he's the guy. I think a lot of pundits have backed him and said give him time, etc. But is it 3 years now? He didn't have European football last year, and he couldn't get into a top four where it looked like everyone was just trying their best to give it away to somebody else. Do you really want to give Arteta another huge transfer kit to try and get some more players? We'll see, but I think they mainly need somebody to put in the goals, especially after Lacazette leaves, because as you guys said before, Nketiah is their only real, striking force at the moment, and it's rumors that he might leave too. So I don't know, striker for me.
Yeah, and I'm going to move on from Arsenal just so we can go through some of the others. But for me, they need some experience. I think they've got all these young kids and they're bringing in more young players. I think they need a little bit of knowledge about how to win difficult games and stuff like that, because they're just going to make more mistakes. I'm not going to say the Alan Hansen line, but everyone knows the Alan Hansen line. One thing that is, I'm going to make an early prediction on this on LFC Transfer Room is I think Brighton at this moment in time are going down. They've lost Basuma. They're on the verge of losing Cucurella. I mean, they're starting to lose the top of the table Premier League talent, aren't they, Jay?
Yeah, but they've still got some decent little players. I like Trossard for Brighton. Pascal Gross's stats for chance creation, by the way, is insane. He's one of the highest every season, and he's just someone that you don't ever think about. They still got Lallana, which when he's fit. But no, I don't think Brighton are in risk of going down straight off the bat. Did they finish ninth last season, Brighton?
I think they finished further down. I think they imploded towards the end after they got past 40 points.
Yeah, but they were more than comfortable, and I think they played really good football. What Brighton needs is a forward. They've needed one for about 2 or 3 years because they just haven't got a goal scorer. They create tons of chances, but don't put them away.
They finished ninth.
Go on, sorry.
They did finish ninth.
They did, yeah. See, so I don't think you can go from ninth to relegation on the back of just Cucurella and Basuma. They'll miss both players, but you've got to see what they bring in first. And for me, the priority is still a forward. And I'm pretty sure they've already got someone lined up to replace Cucurella. I can't remember the lad who it was, but they're meant to have nearly wrapped up a replacement anyway. So for me, no, I think they'll be all right. I just think they need a forward.
I'm assuming you're on about Julio Inquisio from oh no, he's a winger from Paraguay. That's the only one that looks to be getting near completion. Maybe it's James McAtee from Man City. He's a backup.
No, it was a foreign lad. I can't think of the name now. I seen it the other day. It said he's already been in contact with him to replace Cucurella. I'm not 100% if it was, but again, I think the priority for Brighton's a striker because they do create chances, they just don't finish them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm worried for Brighton. I think Yusuf Basuma is one of their biggest destructors. I think his tackle percentage, he's moving to Spurs, and his tackle successes was higher than the entire Spurs midfield. Cucurella's another one of their out balls and their progressions, as well as, a really good left back. I think Jay's right. It depends who they bring in, but there just doesn't seem to be quite a lot of noise around them at the moment.
Yeah, true, but it still is early days. And Basuma, I think he's a decent player, but he's definitely replaceable. And I just think it depends. It really is make or break if they replace him or not. And same with Cucurella. I think it could be the difference between finishing ninth again or, relegation. So I think this is probably in their Premier League history the most important moment. It sounds quite big, but it really is. And Brighton, they're never going to finish top 6 or anything, are they? Or top 8, really. But I think, a mid-table finish would always be good for them. And, yeah.
Jay, do you know what was the weird thinking about with that? Sorry to butt in, mate. Basuma missed loads of games last season anyway. Yeah. When he was going through them allegations of whatever it was, the sexual assault or whatever. I didn't want to just put it out there what it was. Just, do you know what I mean? Just play it safe. He got arrested.
He still played 26 Premier League games.
Yeah, it's still missing 12 though.
How many did he start?
All of them, it's saying.
Okay.
He 12 games nearly half a season though. You know what I mean? It's only seven games off half a season.
He's about a third of the games, isn't he? But we'll say just gut reaction. I think
I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying
be quite good. I'll tell you one team who've done a lot of business very early and very quickly, Drew, is Spurs. Spurs have brought in Perisic. They've brought in Fraser Forster. They brought in. They're on the verge of bringing in Basuma. Spurs look to be going for it in this transfer window and consolidating themselves into that 4th place, don't they?
Yeah, they're quietly building themselves a nice little squad. Like Basuma's a good pickup, as speaking on him as a player. And I thought Perisic was a brilliant signing. Like I know he's old, but he seems to do the business wherever he's been, and gets a good return. He's skilled. He scores goals. He creates goals. He's good on the ball. He can cross it. He's definitely an addition to the squad, and I think Kane will really enjoy playing with him. Like he's a high quality player, so I think they're quietly going about their business early, getting in some signings for on the cheap for them. Like, could you imagine Basuma for what was it, 30 million? I think 25, 30 million, 32.
Yeah.
Like it's what was it? They sold Ben White to when Ben White went to Arsenal for 50 million. Now Basuma's going for.
Yeah.
So I think Spurs have doing an amazing job just picking up these signings that are going to bolster their squad and make them real challengers. Or no, maybe not challengers for the title, but definitely cementing top four.
A couple of other players who are rumored to be on the verge of joining Spurs is Bren Diaz from Blackburn, Dage Spence from Middlesbrough / Nottingham Forest, Richarlison, Rafinha, but that's a very loose connection. They were meant to be in for Bastoni, but that's all meant to have gone off the wire. But they're linked with a few decent more players. I think Richarlison for me stands out. Who stands out for you?
Bastoni, but it doesn't look like it's happening. I think the Richarlison one's a strange one because they've already got Kane, they've got Son. Kulusevski, I thought was fantastic when he came in last season. And now you've added Perisic, who I completely agree with Drew. Perisic is class. He doesn't have room for an old fella. So bringing Richarlison into that.
It's Brett and Diaz, not Ibrahim Diaz. Sorry, someone put Ibrahim Diaz from Real.
That's what you said that to me then. I was like, I haven't even said Diaz. The right back, who they're after is a very good player as well. I'll be honest, people might laugh at this, but I think Spurs could be a problem next season. I rate Conte that high. I think he's a brilliant manager, mate. Like, he's a born winner. And the reason you're seeing them little hissy fits last season is because he demands perfection. And when he doesn't get it, he throws his toys out the pram. I think the only thing that might stop Spurs being a real problem is the fact that us and City have put the standards, the bar, so high. I think that might be the only reason that they might not mount a serious challenge. But if they did, I wouldn't be surprised.
But Owen, of the players linked to Spurs or linked to Spurs and who Spurs have signed so far, there is no one that I'm looking at that could make it into either the Man City or Liverpool starting 11, is there?
Yeah, when you put it like that, that is true. But I think the problem with Spurs is they've got a fantastic starting 11. It's more about the squad depth and kind of who they can bring in when the likes of Kane, Son are injured. Jed Spence at right back, I think that's an absolutely fantastic signing. He was unbelievable last season. And another player as well, who hasn't actually been linked to Spurs, but he's been linked to a whole host of Premier League teams. Brennan Johnson plays for Wales, unbelievable player. His finishing is just absolute filth. And yeah, if he's not in the Premier League, well, he'll be in the Nottingham Forest for sure. But I expect him to be a top 6 team next season. He's that good. So yeah, keep an eye out for him as well.
And one segue, Drew, which, thank you, Jen, for the super sticker, £2.49. Always appreciate your support to the channel. Thank you for giving us money. And talking about money, we're going to go on to Newcastle. They've got bucket loads of the stuff. Now, one of the more recent links that seems to have legs, Drew, is Nick Pope to Newcastle. Could that get him in the England squad? Could that get him a starting thing? Because Pickford at Everton, Ramsdale, as everyone's talking about, maybe Nick Pope getting to a team fighting in the top half of the Premier League might actually start to get him a bit more recognition from Gareth Southgate. He loves a good defensive player, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Nick Pope hasn't gotten a more serious shout. And previous years. I think he got injured like really bad timing wise for one of the tournaments recently when he was pushing Pickford. But he's a phenomenal keeper. I know, like just from the games Liverpool plays. Yeah, I think he always, Jay and I were talking about this the other day. He always has a blinder when he plays us. But I think in general, he's one of the top keepers in the Premier League. And a move to Newcastle definitely would probably get him some more attention. Definitely deserves a big move. I'm surprised no one else has come in for him. And with the state of England right now, was it Hungary putting 4 past them? And I think that was Ramsdale in goal. So, if you were looking for an audition, you failed your first, So, Pickford, we all know his shortcomings, although he turns up randomly. I think it was in the penalties against Italy. He was spectacular. Other boys couldn't get it done, but yeah, he has his moments, but he's not somebody I'd want in between the posts for the national team. Not that I'm British. You can keep him when you play USA come group stages, but speaking for England, you guys need a better keeper, and Nick Pope moved to Newcastle could certainly put him in the shop window for Southgate. But we'll see. Southgate kind of has his picks, so I don't know if that will push him over the line. But who knows if he'll be there that much longer.
Yeah, and Iddy's put in the chat that Matt Target, that's a done deal from Villa to Newcastle now. That's moved. But Jay, I mean, they're linked. I thought they'd go more an experienced route, so that they can reduce the transfer fees. But they're going after some of the more interesting talent, younger talent. Sven Botman is rumoured to be close to going. Hugo Nketiah rumoured to be close to going, and obviously the Sarr and Diaby are 2 others. Do you think Eddie Howe's trying to build a young and exciting team, and then bring in some quality to see it through? Shelby United. Shelby's going to be running, is he?
He'll hold them off. My twin. He tried that at Bournemouth, didn't he? He likes young players and playing football the right way. So when you've got that amount of money, you can go for whoever you want. If there's a player you like, you can always ask the question. So I'm not surprised that they're going for them types of players, especially the likes of Botman, because Botman would be a massive signing for Newcastle. He's like a game-changing type signing for a club like that. I just wish they'd go for Ox, to be honest. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen, unfortunately. So it'll take a few years for Newcastle to get anywhere, but it looks like they're looking at the right type of players that are going to be there for the next few years, which is exciting for Newcastle fans. They deserve a bit of excitement and something to look forward to be fair to them.
Yeah. I mean, the one that excites me, Owen, is Hugo Nketiah. He's 19-year-old, centre forward, 6 foot, played 20 times last year, scoring 23 times last year, 10 goals. So that's a goal every other game, but only 1,200 minutes. So he's not playing the full 90 minutes every week. That's a good return for your first full season. Whilst you rampantly look him up to just give yourself something to see. I can see the panic on his face. What? It's a good transfer strategy, isn't it? Get the people that need to prove themselves before the big clubs come knocking, and hopefully you can keep them that way.
Yeah, ultimately, yeah, it's a good transfer strategy, and I think they're doing well not going for all the old players. I think Newcastle want to be a youthful team, give their team kind of something to cheer about, something promising, a project, because ultimately you don't want, I know they've got unlimited money pretty much, but you don't want it to be over within a few years and then have to rebuild again. So I like the way that they're going. I wish they get Andy Carroll back, get the band back together, but they're going in a different direction nowadays. So I think it's only a positive for them. They can't go any worse than they have done over the past few years, though, can they? So yeah, fair play to them.
Just sticking with you, Owen, there was a big falling out between Alan St. Maximin and seemingly the management of Newcastle. Making it like players around him that he'd be getting the stats of Mane, which is an atrocious claim. He's a good player, but do you think he's gonna be leaving? Do you think they're gonna try and get rid of him because you don't want a disruptor, do you?
Yeah, if he's disrupting, then they might have to. But ultimately, they want to keep him because even if he's just a squad player, it doesn't matter. They can just bring in other players in the attack, and he's going to get goals. And ultimately, when he's playing, he's phenomenal. He is, and I think he has potential to play for a top 6 team, no doubt. So yeah, you want to keep them sort of players when you're trying to build a team. But yeah, if he's being a bad egg in the changing room, then yeah, unfortunately, no player's bigger than the team.
Nope. Agreed. And make sure that if you're new to the channel, you like and subscribe. Everything we put back into the channel goes into the channel. So your likes, your subscriptions and things like that, it does help us make the channel better for you. Now, we're going to move on to the comical end of the transfer window. We're going to talk about soap hands Man United and their inability to get near any level of transfer dealing at this moment in time. And they seem to be going after everybody and getting nobody. Currently, the list of players that I've got in front of me that they're trying to get: Vieira, Eriksson, De Jong, Elbowobi, Tom Anthony, Ibrahim Sagare, Timber, just Jurian Timber from Ajax, and N'Golo Kante. Any of them do you think they'll manage to pull off, Jay?
Yeah, I think they'll get Anthony. And I think they'll probably get De Jong, the way things are going. It seems like Barca want to replace De Jong, I think. Seen something the other day, they'd like to get Silva and Gundogan to get rid of De Jong. And to be honest, if you could pull that off, you'd do it. If I had De Jong, I do like De Jong, but if I had him and I could sell him and bring in Gundogan and Bernardo Silva, I'd do it tomorrow. So I do think United will get him just because of the Ten Hag attachment. And he'll throw stupid amounts of money at them the way they always do. So I think they'll get them too. Anyone else, I don't know. Maybe they need a big rebuild. So I imagine there'll be a lot more names added to the list you've just given there.
And Drew, do you think it's more about who they get rid of than they keep? You know, Lingard's gone. Dean Henderson's rumoured to be going. I mean, he was linked with Newcastle, but that looks to be completely off the cards because they've made progress with Nick Pope. And then Matic has gone. Paul Pogba's gone, and he's thrown a bit of a grenade on the way out, saying how bad they are. Anthony Martial's meant to be going. Oh, Dean Henderson's now linked with Nottingham Forest, which would be actually a very good move for him, wouldn't it? Do you think it's just as important about who they get out of the club than it is who they bring in? Because you can't change a culture keeping the same toxic people around, can you, Drew?
Yeah, definitely. He's got a huge job on him. It's one of those situations, though, where I feel like he needs to steady the ship more than anything. It seems like there's a lot of forced players going out anyway. So, you know, I think the big question is, do you keep or stick, keep or sell Ronaldo? But it looks like Ronaldo will stay, and then it's how do you build your team? I think it's more about steadying the ship, creating the identity, and moving on. Like, I don't think Man United fans can expect big things within this first year. I think more it's just steadying the ship, creating an identity, and then a clear path forward. I think bringing in a ton of players would be a huge mistake because then you have so many jobs that you need to do. But yeah, I agree with Jay. I think the Ajax connections will help, and maybe De Jong and Anthony will come in, and those will be the big signings. And then you can work with what he has, see what's there, and then maybe having something in mind for a winter transfer window to potentially bring in one or two more. But I think steadying the ship's Man United's best bet. We'll see if he's able to do it, though. It's a big task.
Now, my wife's spray painting outside, so if I start to go a bit, I can smell it now. Jesus. But here's a question for the chat and for you guys, and Owen, I'm going to let you answer first. The team Ten Hag's got now, is it better or worse than the team Klopp had when he started? And you can include like the culture and theory of players and stuff like that. Who has the harder starting job? Klopp or Ten Hag? Owen, I'll start with you.
I think Klopp had the harder job. because even though the players weren't most gifted, under Rodgers we built a spirit and had that kind of, obviously it died towards the end, but we had that understanding, and it's just kind of every player knew what it meant to play for the club, or at least I kind of felt that. And then we had like loads of players that we love, like Kolo Toure, them sort of players who were still kind of like not club legends, Lucas Leiva, them sort of players. So yeah, I think Ten Hag's got a hell of a job. And yeah, a lot of them don't even want to be there. So you can't afford even one transfer. You can't afford to have a bad transfer that doesn't work out. He has to get every single one spot on. And yeah, just turn things around. And it is a virtually impossible job. But yeah, look, all I'm hoping is third game in, United start the season off terribly. We go to their place and it's a repeat of last time.
So, Joe, do you think Klopp had a harder job?
100%, mate. We had players like Conor Randall in his first game. Conor Randall. No disrespect to him, but you don't have players like that in United's 11 or squad. Is anyone there got...
McTominay. Sorry.
Yeah, but you know what, though? If you sold him, I'd probably get something stupid like 30 million. But if you look at Klopp's first 11 or first squad, mate, some of the names on that, you're looking at it going, oh my God, how have we got to where we've got to? Like, you've got to look at United. They still got Sancho. I know Martial's been crap, but under a certain manager could get something out of him. Like, there's a player in there, 100% there is. So like Sancho, Martial, I'm struggling now.
Rashford.
Yeah, Rashford.
Bruno.
Yeah.
Bruno.
Yeah, Bruno.
Bruno,
Look,
he's actually a decent player.
There's more players there at United that were better than what we had. If you look at Liverpool starting 11 under Klopp against Tottenham, that squad, the starting 11 on the bench is shocking when you look at what we've got now. And I think if you look at United's squad now, they could definitely pick a better team and subs than what we had that first game. But I think it's a harder job in terms of the toxicity within the club, because everyone's there just for money. It's purely for money. At least we had lads that graft, but they might not have been great players, but they give it a go. And I think that sometimes is more important.
Legend himself.
Divock up front, Coutinho.
I also think the other side of it, though, is that the league wasn't as stable as it is now. Like, I think that Man City and Liverpool are so far ahead of where United need to be. Where, like, when Klopp took over, there was he was there when the year Leicester won, right? So the fact that that was even in the equation, I don't think there was the cemented superiority of any of the top teams at that time. So I think that will be interesting, where it's like Ten Hag in a normal year, he has more tools to work with than Klopp did, more top tools. But as he touched on, Jay, the toxicity of the club is is terrible. You've had however many top managers, was it not Solskjaer, but you had Mourinho come through. I know Van Gaal, couldn't do anything, neither of those. So they're on their fourth manager on a rebuild. I know we had similar with Hodgson, Dalglish, Rodgers, and Klopp, but there seemed to be some progression in there, whereas United just look as lost as they were when, Moyes was first there. But I think the fact that Man City and Liverpool are so far ahead of everyone else, and now you've got Chelsea in the mix and Conte making up the ground, that Man United's job is now to get in touching distance of Liverpool and City and potentially those others. Whereas that for me looks like not an easy, quick turnaround. And we'll see how long Man United fans are patient, how long the board is patient. But for me, that makes the job a bigger task than Klopp. But I think you can't really compare it in those terms, because when Klopp took over, we just had gone to look. We had just gone through touching distance with Luis Suarez, and everything looked terrible after he left, and Klopp somehow put everything together and, got us two of the big trophies in Europe. So we'll see.
Now, before we move on to the fixtures which got announced today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the remaining transfers we've not covered that have over a 90% possibility on transfer market from all the research that they've done. And I'm just going to ask you guys to give us a thumbs up if you think it's a good transfer, thumbs down if you think it's a bad transfer. And if you're not sure, you're not sure. James Tarkowski to Everton. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs down. Andreas Christensen to Barcelona. Down, up, up. Alphonse Areola from Paris Saint-Germain to West Ham. Will he replace Fabianski?
No.
2 up, 1 down. Calvin Ramsey, Aberdeen to Liverpool. True. Mr. Positive, how dare you? Paul Pogba.
Like you, Drew.
Paul Pogba United.
Getting stingy with their money, man. Aberdeen trying to collect them checks.
Should they get the Mayan brew?
Paul Pogba United to Juve. Is it a good signing for Juve? Marcus Alonso, Chelsea to Barcelona. Not sure. Sadio Mane, Liverpool to Bayern.
For them, not us.
For them, it's great. For us, it's. Then the final one we've got is Steven Bergwijn, Spurs to Ajax. A collective agreement. So let's move on to opening day fixtures. Liverpool find themselves kicking things off on the Saturday. Obviously, Crystal Palace Arsenal play on the Friday at 12:30. After we've come back from Asia, because the season all starts a little bit earlier and stuff like that. But we're away to Fulham. Owen, it's a good start, isn't it? Fulham's a good start.
Yeah, I'd say you like to go to an away. Well, there's two sides to it. You either go into a newly promoted team away, and they'll be a bit nervous, a bit shaky because, yeah, it's their first game. But on the flip side, you could say be absolutely bouncing because, yeah, it's their first game back in the Prem for, well, only a season, but still, it's going to be up down. But, yeah, it'll be good spirits there. Interesting to see Fabio Carvalho return, but I don't think he will play, as people have said. But, yeah, I think pretty good opening game, to be fair.
Do you think? I think he'll give Carvalho a few minutes. What do you think, Jay? Do you think he'll just let him sort of collect the admiration of his fans? They did have the promotion, didn't they?
I think if he shows he's ready to start in the team, he'll play. I don't think who we're playing against, with it being his former club or anything like that, has any burden. I think if he trains in a way which Klopp thinks he should be starting, he'll start. If he doesn't, he won't. I don't think the fact he played for Fulham comes into it. Either way, it'd be interesting as well because Nico Phillips might be on the other side as well. Hopefully, someone wrecks his debut if he does go.
Drew, I've looked at the fixture and I think Crystal Palace have the worst start to the season of anybody. To start with, they kick off the Premier League away at Arsenal. Then the next match. At home to Arsenal. Then their next match is away to Liverpool. Then their next match is at home to Villa. Then the one after that, they're away to Man City. Then they've got Brentford at home. It's not going to be a great start for Patrick Vieira, is it?
No, that's definitely a tough list of fixtures. But I actually think them at home against Arsenal, they'll get the win. Yeah. I don't think Arsenal always travel well. They lost to Brentford on the first day of the season last year. They had a terrible start, and Patrick Vieira in front of their own crowd. Crystal Palace can do the job there. I think if they win that first game, then that gives them some leeway to pick up the draws against the likes of Brentford, and then maybe Villa, and lose against City and Liverpool. But they've got a good squad, and Vieira I thought plays an attractive football, and you know, they can score goals. So I don't think they should be taken lightly by any of those teams. But yeah, on paper they got the hardest fixtures, but I think they'll do fine.
Anthony saying Palace taking points off City. I tell you what, I do like the heavily linked with Sam Johnson, the goalkeeper from West Brom, and I think he's going to be a cracking keeper for them, actually. He's 29. I think he's been playing well for a while. Owen, looking at Liverpool's first 3 fixtures, Fulham, Palace, United, how many points from a possible 9?
9. Gotta be. Like, come on. What sort of question is that? Of course, we're winning it.
You might be pragmatic.
Nah, mate, we're in the quadruple this year. We're going one better. I'm fully optimistic now. We got Darwin Núñez in, and I'm fully on the Darwin bandwagon. He's going to score 25 plus goals next season. Salah's going to come back to life. Jota's going to reignite what he had started last season. Honestly, it's going to be fantastic, and we're just brilliant now, aren't we?
Go on, Owen.
I mean, let's look at City's first 3 fixtures, Jay. They've got West Ham away, which is a tricky start.
Yeah.
You know, Antonio could go through Haaland's cruciate right there. Then they're away at Bournemouth. At home against Bournemouth. All right, they'll get 3 points there. And then they're away at Newcastle. Which they are the 2 clubs that, yes, they should. I don't expect either of them to finish in the top 4 that they're playing, but they are difficult teams where if you're not in sync, they could punish you, couldn't they?
Them 2 away games are 100%. 2 games that you look at beginning of the season and think, oh, they could be a hiccup. West Ham nearly were a hiccup. The end of last season, obviously when Bowen got 2 and then broke all our hearts. And Newcastle away, the atmosphere at Newcastle now is insane since all this toxicity's left the club and Mike Ashley. So they're actually 2 really tricky away fixtures. And City lost their first game of the season last season to Spurs, didn't they, to Santo? I always think start of the season anyway, you've got no momentum. So anyone can kind of beat anyone beginning of the season, so kind of. But they're definitely 2 tricky away games. With the Palace thing as well, sometimes I think it's better to get them hard games out the way because they're done. They're already gone then, do you know what I mean? And if you've picked up a couple of points, great. If you haven't, at least them fixtures are gone then.
If you're outside the bottom 3 at the end of that run of games, you feel confident moving forward.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's why I think it could suit them. But yeah, they're 2 tricky away games for City to start out with. Like.
And Drew, to finish on you, which game do you think Darwin Núñez is going to open his account? Fulham, Palace, United?
If he starts Fulham. Yeah, I don't see his pattern in Fulham.
To open his account.
Nah, get him warmed up for United. You know.
Makes sense. Get him on full fire so that, you know, he's getting 25 goals this season anyway, isn't he, Owen?
I don't think he'll start the opening game. I don't think he will. I think Klopp, you've seen it before. He doesn't like to play straight in the deep end with Fabinho, Andy Robertson. It might be even a month or so before we start seeing the best of Darwin Núñez in a Liverpool shirt.
I don't know. We need to start him. Like, he needs to come on and score.
It depends how he plays on our Asian tour, isn't it? If I think if he's banging him in left, right, and centre on tour, and he's got that link-up play with Diaz from the off, could very well be going. This has been Premier League Transfer Room, looking at all the other clubs. There's a bit of interesting business going on. We think Spurs are fishing around quite cleverly at this moment in time. We think United may get a deal done if they really try hard and focus. They can definitely pay over the odds for someone bang average. We're hoping it's not the end for Liverpool, but we will see. Looking at the fixtures, Crystal Palace have it tough, but Owen is predicting 9 points from 9 from our first 3 fixtures. Thank you, Owen, Drew, Jay. This is LFC Transfer Room. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. You can also now subscribe to the channel by paying for membership. And you get cool little features like as you can see on Jen's chats. Thank you very much for joining, and we will catch you on the next one.